Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another great show. Hey, how you doing? Now, if you missed last week's show, you missed a big one. So what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to double it up. I got guests here that's going to inspire you for 2025 like no other. First of all, tell a friend. We are live. We are there. Hook them up. Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Tell a friend. Let them know you can watch us live right now. But don't forget, you can catch us on the repeat as well. So everybody's talking about how to get inspired for 2025. Well, I'm going to bring you people that will tell you their story and maybe give you that inspiration and maybe give you some hints on how you can get inspired and get to that next level. It's all about getting the next level. So without further ado, let's get our guest on and talk about getting to that next level. Let's go. Atif, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you, Charles, for having me here.
I'm so glad you can join us. But first, before we get started, let's talk about the main thing in the back of your room, okay? The Iron Man mask and the poster. Come on now.
I know. Look at that. Look at that. Right? Yeah.
So
These are all my medals, right? Yeah.
Okay, so we I know I'm going off topic right off the bat, but why Iron Man? Why Iron Man?
You know, I really let me take you back. Back in 2014, I walked into the superstore in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I saw this mask, Iron Man mask, and I just put it on. I just felt great, more powerful, more confident, and more someone who actually is a more of a leader and helper, and someone who actually inspires others. And 6 months after that, what I took a picture of myself at that store. I lost my leg to cancer, basically, literally 3 to 4 months after that. And the qualities of Iron Man character, if you look at the movies, right? He's a leader. He's sometimes he's not a straight thinker, but he helps. He is an innovator. He actually has a good heart, and I just love those characteristics of Iron Man. And one of the things I liked about the Iron Man movie is some of the things he says really deeply resonated with me. It says here, right here, the board, right? Can you see that right here? What it says is sometimes you got to run before you can walk. And that was my reality back in 2015 when I lost my leg to cancer. I had my son who was just 11 months old. I didn't have time to sit around and cry about my situation, right? I was missing a leg, but here I had a little child who needed a father. So I literally applied this Iron Man mindset. I got to run. I don't have time to figure it out. I have to just raise this kid, be a dad for him, be an Iron Man for him.
There you go. All right. So we're jumping ahead. Now I'm going to reel it back.
Exactly.
Born and raised. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Pakistan. So I lived in Pakistan. I was born there, raised there. I moved when I was 20 years old to Halifax, Nova Scotia, back in 2006.
And the little Atif, like, what were you thinking? Like, growing up, you saw different things. 9-year-old, what were you thinking? 10-year-old, what were you thinking?
That's a very good question. My childhood upbringing, I'm deaf from my right ear, so going through a childhood with no support for my hearing loss, it was difficult. And I was reading recently that when kids have a partial hearing loss, they miss up to 50% of the stuff in the school. And I had no idea at the time. But I did okay. But the point is, it was a bit difficult, and I was abused as a child in Pakistan. So it was a lot more difficult. I was coping with my childhood by being more funny. So I was the guy in my family who was always cracking jokes and being more funny. Now I realized that I was doing all that funny jokes, cracking jokes, because that was my way of dealing with the trauma, the abuse, the hearing loss. All those things were happening to me, and I had no idea what to do about it. But I was the most funniest guy. I am the most funniest guy in my family who just makes fun of every situation. Whether
Right.
I'm sitting in a hospital with my leg chopped off, I can crack joke about it and be more funny about it situation. So I can make light of situations, and that's what I've been reading a lot more research. So I was more funny, went through a bunch of things as a child, and I was I always inspired people as well as a child as well. But I was going through and trying to help others who I saw they're sad, and try to help them see a brighter side of things. And it's funny, you wouldn't believe when I took upon, I mean, when I started walking this journey of being an entrepreneur, being an inspirational figure 3 years ago, I found a letter I wrote to my cousin when I was 15 years old, and I have it now at the back of me. I'll show you later, but it says it's right here. Actually, I have it here with me. I'll show you. Look at that. This is a letter I wrote back in 1999 when I was only 15 years old. What it says is the beginning of success. If you think you're beaten, you are. So, beginning of success starts with what you think. And that's a profound statement. And that's
Hmm.
my philosophy in my business, in my personal life. And that letter found me actually. I was in Pakistan a couple of years ago. My uncle gave it to me. Oh, I just had this letter you wrote. I'm like, wow, what a nice timing. If I had this
Right.
letter 5 years ago, I wouldn't have that understanding of why I had this. Why did I write this? But I truly feel the words I wrote 25 years ago. But anyways, that's kind of where I was, inspiring early on, and really being more funny, dealing with challenges head on, and building the resilient mindset from early on as a child in Pakistan.
So when did you find your break as an adult? So you're going through this hearing loss, the school and everything abused, but when did you find that break as an adult and start to find your way?
That happened around 10 years ago when I was going through my professional development. I enrolled into CPA program. I was developing professionally, and I lived with pain for 2 years. My tumor was developing in my leg, and living with pain. And I've been living with pain as a child, with trauma and all this abuse. But then this was another level, right, where it just broke me, and it really took me in a space in my life where I started questioning things, what I was doing, the 9 to 5, this hustle every single day. Are you still there?
Yep.
Okay, no, you kind of disappeared from the screen, so I didn't know where you were. So yeah, so 10 years ago when I was going through severe physical and mental pain because of my tumor, and then I had to go through cancer treatment and amputation, and that time I questioned myself. And I remember 30 minutes before my amputation, there were a couple of things in my mind. What is going to be my legacy if I just die today? If cancer spreads, I'm done. Atif's chapter is done. And that was the biggest regret I had at that time. And that, I've done really nothing that is worth mentioning, or I haven't left anything that my son Aslan, who was just 11 months old, he wouldn't remember me, right? If I just died today, right? So at that time, I promised myself that I will find my purpose, something that's more meaningful, and something that it's worth leaving behind for my son, for many others who follow me. And that was the day I'd never looked back, and I am on to inspiring people and showing people the brighter side of things. Whether you're running a business, it can be stressful. Whether you're dealing with personal challenges or some challenge in your school, whatever that is, there's always going to be a way to look at positive side of things. And this is what I teach in my keynotes. All I teach is the power of positive mindset, turning pain into power. So 10 years ago would be the right time, and I was like, okay, I have to start living more than existing. And I remember this Rumi said this: majority of us taste death, but only some of us taste life. And that's my phenomena, my goal in business and personal life, to help others, businesses, to live more, taste life more than they've been doing before, and really ask why. Why am I here? Why am I running this business? Really get to the deeper meaning of things.
Do you think if this situation didn't happen to you, would you be at this level? Like people always say things happen for a reason. Like, will you always?
Truly.
Do you think you'd be inspired like this, to be motivated, to be more go-getter, or do you think it would have come later in your lifetime?
So I was chatting with my son, who's now 10, and
Okay.
telling him that I believe that was the biggest gift I've received from Mother Nature. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be living a life like this, and I wouldn't be inspiring so many others. I wouldn't be grabbing so many of other people to tell them, you gotta just rethink life,
Yes.
rethink purpose, meaning, rethink business. What's your business philosophy? And Mother Nature has every answer, every solution, every source for you. You just need to be the one believing in yourself
Hmm.
and living with a bit more meaning. So he agreed that you're right. That was the biggest gift. He talks about about my leg, and I wish I had a leg, but I don't know. Don't you think really it was the best gift ever in my life, right? And I would never want to go back, to be honest, Charles. That was just a turning point in my life. And people ask me that when I give talks. Do we all have to lose our legs to cancer to find the
Yeah.
purpose? And tell them not really, because there are ways you can ask your questions. So, and then I started doing research on it because people asked me this question. I was bothered. Do we all have to lose our legs or go through something terrible in life?
Right.
Not really. And I've been reading a lot about philosophy and about the work of Viktor Frankl. I don't know if the audience here knows about him. He was a Holocaust survivor. He survived 3 different concentration camps, and he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he provided there are multiple ways to find meaning in life. One is, of course, my way, which is the hard way, where you lose something, someone, or something happens to you in your life. You start questioning things, and there's a couple other ways where you actually experience life more. So I can talk about it in more detail another time, but definitely Viktor Frankl is the guy to go if you feel like you need to work on your purpose, meaning. I need a bit more clarity. Viktor Frankl, the book called The Man's Search for Meaning.
Here we go. Sorry. Now, your first inspirational talk. Can we go back in your mind? Do you remember your first inspirational talk?
Definitely. So it was basically, again, around in 2015, July. So, of course, I was off work a few months. I couldn't go back because I was going through cancer treatment and everything. So my boss brought me in for just a lunch with all the team at work, right? And she just gave me the mic, just say a few words, and I was like, okay. Just losing a leg doesn't turn me into an inspirational speaker. Just let you know, right? I have to do a lot more work. And that was the first day
Mm-hmm.
I had to come up with some words
Yep.
and really inspire people. And that was the first day where I just took it upon myself and really, the words I said is, we do. I didn't know. Now the way I talk right now, of course, I change a lot and I improve a lot. I said we do complain a lot about things in life. So what I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
say, basically, we are being always being negative, right? We're focusing
Right.
on things that are not there, or we're lacking, or we're missing, or we don't like. So why don't we focus on the things that we have, right? This is
Right.
exactly the words I said, because I
Mm-hmm.
lost my leg, and I had to focus on the one that I have. I had to
Mm-hmm.
focus on the one child who had 11 months old. So there
Right.
was so much others to focus on. I couldn't be sitting down and crying about my cancer and my amputation. So that was a message I gave them. That's roughly 10 years ago. And as a profound, I still think about it. And you would believe, recently I connected with my boss who actually brought me in for that talk. I'm
Okay.
chatting with her on 23rd of January is when we are chatting on Teams. And I just didn't, I'm not a superstitious guy, but I told her, do you know what 23rd January was? It
Yeah.
was the day when I called you from the hospital that I have cancer. I can't come
Mm.
to work today. So it's literally a full circle
Full
back.
circle back. Right.
I told her, you're the one who gave me the mic that day, and here I am, inspiring the world, helping the world become more resilient. So
Right.
I'm going to be giving her 10-year update on
There
that,
you go.
and it's a proud moment for
Fantastic.
both of us. Exactly.
All right. Let's have some fun. It's now time for
Awesome.
rapid fire. We're going to get to know you a little bit more, like what you do, things that you have. But here's a funny thing, my friend. You got 2 minutes on the clock to answer these questions. But don't worry,
Sure.
you get to ask the questions for yourself. So here it is. What questions would you like me to ask you? A, B, C, or D?
First of all, when it was the first time, I found that you need to ask me the question, but for the
What's the
first time, and
question?
I
Give me, give me,
professionally.
give me questions. A, B, C, or D. Which ones do you want me to ask you?
Oh, okay. So you already have a question. So you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were telling me. Okay. So just ask me. A.
A. All right. Here we go. Here we go. I like it. You're ready to ask your own questions. Here we go. 2 minutes starts on the clock when I ask you the first questions. Here we go. What food can you not live without?
I love biryani, chicken biryani. I love.
Last song you listened to?
Last song I listened to, the fight song, Rachel. Yeah.
List 5 things that make you happy.
Being up on stage, inspiring masses, and spending time with my family, my son, my 2 kids, my family, my wife, and 5 things you said. One thing is preparing for my big talk. It's just a process, and really coaching one-on-one. Some of the people come to me and ask me questions, so I'm coaching them, and working with a lot of small businesses who don't have access to a lot of consulting services that big businesses have.
What's the last book you read?
The last book I read was basically, I'm trying to think, a bunch of books. So, so it was a business. I forgot the name of it. It was a Business 101, very famous book. It was just as an Audible, so I can't remember the name, but yeah, it's a very famous book. It's
What's the
called
last Google search you did while you're looking for that?
Beyond Entrepreneurs is the name of the book. So last Google search I did was exactly what I'm trying to do, is set up my own podcast. So the steps to set up podcast. So that's a search.
One thing you will never do again.
Never do again is to getting stuck in a negative mindset. I do have negative thoughts, but I do know how do I get myself out of it. So I'm really good at it. I'm a pro at it.
All right, 20 seconds left. What's the funniest thing that happened to you in school?
What's the funniest thing happened to me in school? I talk about it. My younger brother, he pooped in his pants, and I had to carry his dirty, soiled pants from school to home like this. I had no plastic bags. I still talk about it with my brother. Like, dude, that was just a embarrassing walk. So it was just, I was a kid, and it was just, yeah.
All right. You made it through rapid fire. One of the questions I didn't get to ask you was your family. What is family? When's the last time you talked to a family member to say, I love you? Talk about family. What does family mean to you?
A family meaning is to being compassionate and more connected family, where we are open to sharing our feelings, whether it's mental health, physical health. And I was actually in Pakistan in December, so the point was to spend some time with my dad. He's getting older, and it just scary to see him, getting older and weaker every day. And my point was to spend a couple of weeks with him and trying to take him to hospital, do things for him, and being there for him and building more connections. So I did a quick, I should say, a podcast or a little podcast with him to ask him a few questions about, tell me about your childhood. Yeah. Because oftentimes we don't, when we are too close together, we don't focus on the small things. We don't learn much about each other's personality. We do know what you like to eat and this and that, but we don't go much deeper because we take each other for granted. So yes. The answer would be stop. I want to stop taking people for granted, people who are in my life, my siblings, my wife, my kids, my family, my parents, and then really trying to get to know what the truths stand for and what the message they want to leave behind.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about you being on stage. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Immigrant Women in Business, IWB, is a non-profit organization bringing together women from over 50 different countries around the globe. These women have now made Canada their home and share a common goal of providing value to their new sisters. Our motto of "We are stronger together" resonates with all members, and with a diverse membership of business leaders, entrepreneurs and community builders, our goal is to make Canada better and provide guidance and leadership to those that follow.
Yes, we're back live. And then before we went to the break, I want to know, TED Talk. All right, let's just get this right here. That looks familiar. That looks like somebody I know.
I know. Look at that guy. How did I even get him? Who even let this guy on this? Really? I'm the most introvert person, and whenever I went in a big crowd, I would always go into this tiny corner where nobody would be able to see me. I always wanted to hide. And look at this guy. He's on a stage and speaking with the world and inspiring the world, right? It's not about being introvert, extrovert. It's knowing that your existence matters. it's not just my story. It's every one of us has a story that worth sharing, and feeling passionate about that story enough to come out and share. And my goal in life is to help entrepreneurs, individual businesses, organizations to really know the true values and then really find that it's worth standing up for. So me being on stage is something like I said, my message is worth sharing, and I have to get over this introvert personality. I'm still an introvert, but I know the message has to get out because the gift I've been given by Mother Nature is a gift for me to share, not just to keep it myself. So I'm here sharing and inspiring many others to share their messages. So when I give talks, a bunch of people come to me at the end, showing willingness to share their message, because the goal is to inspire others to be more open about their feelings, about their stories, and not feeling embarrassed by the experiences, whether going through some abuse as a child or whether living with a disability, whether physical or visible or invisible, right? And in my TEDx talk, I shared a couple stories of people actually who came back and they found their strength in sharing their stories, and that's what I call it: inspire one, impact billions. Because through our one act of kindness, whether it's sharing your story or telling someone I'm here for you. I remember a couple of years ago, my best friend Saad told me, Atif, what do you want to do? I told him I want to share my story on a big stage. He said, write it down, take a picture of it, and send it to me. That alone changed the way I thought. Wow, he cares about me enough to ask me to write it down and take a picture of it. I'll hold you accountable. All
Right.
it takes is just small actions of kindness to help people. You don't need to go around and figure out the big things to do for people. Be someone's accountability partner. Yes, I don't want to go too long. Cut me off whenever you think you have had enough. I'm a speaker, so I can talk for 5 hours. I tell my wife that, and so you better stop me when I. So I'll keep talking and let me know if you
Don't
have
worry
enough.
about that, my friend. This is what it is. It's my show is there to inspire people. And when they hear different people,
Yeah,
and all it takes is one person to say, "Hey, that's me. Hey, that just happened to me." Or, "All right, let's see what is he doing. Can I get to that next
one
level?" So
person. Yeah,
one
exactly.
person. That's
And
all I found out it takes is one person. One person helped me growing up. He hates when I do it. But I'm gonna call him out again, Mr. Livingston. He was a teacher of mine, and because of him, the courage, the confidence, my whole being changed. So when you have that one person, it does tremendous things for you.
you're changing so many others. So it's that's what I call it: inspire one, impact billions. So through that one inspiration from Mr. Livingston, right? Your teacher, you are inspiring many hundreds and thousands and 100,000 people. So that's a ripple effect of inspiration, which I call. That's what I talked about in my TEDx talk. Is do not think that you're inspiring one person. You're inspiring thousands, 100,000 people, or billions even, because you don't know where this guy is gonna go, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I wanted to review one thing before we move on. Remember, you asked me that everything happens for a reason. So I'll tell you a bizarre coincidence that happened to me. So when I moved from Pakistan, I became friends with David, my good friend David. I never knew him before. So completely different two worlds, Pakistan and Canada and Halifax, small town. He lost his leg to cancer in 2010. And I remember being there for him in 2010, trying to comfort him and bringing him things, treats. I mean, I had no idea how it feels like to be someone young and losing a leg to cancer. But I did my best to help him and to help him persevere through that time. I had no idea that I'll be going through the same experience 5 years later. And that's what I wanted to share with you, the bizarre coincidence. That makes me believe even strongly that everything happens for a reason. Meeting David, a random dude, I could have met
Mhm.
anyone. I could have gone anywhere in the world. But here I was in a tiny town in Halifax, city Halifax, and met David, and then we both are now amputees. That's just a bizarre coincidence I wanted to share quickly before we move on.
Do you think David kind of gave you like the insights, the outside? You saw him with his amputee, you saw him with his stuff, and then now it's full circle. Then you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
look.
Yeah,
So
I call him my amputation expert, or subject matter expert. I call
there
him.
you go. There
So
you go.
when I lost my leg to cancer, he couldn't believe that he thought I was joking.
Okay.
And a year before my amputation, he told me, Atif, you've been just having pain. It's fine. It's a
Mhm.
1 in a million chance that I will know someone with a similar condition.
Yeah.
And there I was 5 years later, and he was there with me on Skype every single day, showing me his leg, the
Hmm.
positive side of things. So without him, I would be a lot more depressed. I would be a lot more in a dark place. And he didn't let me do that. He was
Right.
there for me. Atif, what are you talking about? It's just a leg. For God's sake,
Hmm.
you just have still one leg. So it's funny the way he inspired me. And humor is a huge part of inspiration and our living as human beings. And through finding humor, and Viktor Frankl talks about it. I don't know if you read this book or not. Viktor Frankl talks about it. That humor is uniquely human thing. That no matter what you're going through, is our ability to find humor in a situation is the best way to cope with the psychological impact of trauma, physical or emotional.
So let me ask you a question. How does Atif wake up in the morning? What do you do? What's your regiment?
So I wake up, if you literally want to ask, I wheel myself and put my leg on, right? Like not like many people. I assemble. I tell my legs assemble, right? The Iron Man, right? They're not very high tech, but I have to go to my gear myself and put it on. It's a very high tech leg actually. So I had this guy in Ottawa, actually, basically wrap it in an Iron Man design. So he knew I loved Iron Man, and he just did the exact same thing. So it looks like an Iron Man leg. So I put it on in the morning, and I basically love Audible because we do spend a lot of time doing binge watching things like TV shows, movies. I do binge listening. I listen to books like crazy, and that is the way you gain knowledge, right? Like reading a business book, where whatever you want to learn. So I asked my audience, anybody who wants to be positive here? Who wants to be positive? And everybody raises hands. And I asked
Yep.
them, so tell me who has read a book on how to be positive over the last 30 days? And just only a couple of people raise hands. So when you want to be someone, read about it, learn about it. It's not going to come magically from somewhere, right? So if you want to learn how to run a successful business, read or listen to a book about it, right? Consulting business, whether it's a service product or whatever that is, grab a book. My goal is to spread more positivity. So I listen to books on positivity, psychology of positivity, right? And really how we can harness the power of positivity to persevere through the biggest challenge in life. So I have books differently on different topics, whether it's a psychology, more science, or it's more about philosophy of positivity. So I listen to books and get ready to inspire people. Basically, I reach out to people and who reached out to me for help or consultation. So emails in the morning, I catch up on all the emails prior, and I then towards the middle of the day, normally I reach out to people for any speaking engagements. So I have a speaking engagements coming up on 29th with CPA Ontario. So I spend time preparing for because people don't understand that even 20 minutes talk
Hmm.
takes huge amount of time to prepare. So if
Right.
you have a 2-hour talk, it doesn't take as
Hmm.
much. You can wing it in 2 hours. You can get your story out, no problem. In 20 minutes, you don't
You
have
got
a
to
lot of time to
compact.
wing.
You trying to compact everything you
Exactly.
want in 20
You
minutes.
got to make sure you say things that are going to be more impactful, more structured. So it takes huge amount of time to prepare 20 minutes versus a 2-hour talk.
And you
So
want to be
I've
more
been
powerful in those 20 minutes than
exactly
anything else. So
20
what is
minutes. You're yeah.
so what is your time? When do you go into a dark corner and just let loose and think?
Yeah, so basically, is my basement is where I sit with myself, and I think that's where important part is of the reason I found that my success is being with myself, okay with my personality, my thoughts, and even psychology now talks about it. Even science talks about it. We should have daily periods of just doing nothing else for others. Just sit with your thoughts and
Hmm.
write. So I have journal here. I write journal what I'm feeling. So I have a journal where I write down what I'm feeling, whether it's good or bad. It has to be on paper. And scientifically, it's proven now. Things we type or say, they're not as impactful as things we write because then our motor neurons, our psychologies, everything is involved when we're writing something, right? Something like this, that note I wrote 25 years ago, it has a lot more impact than anything I said probably or even I texted or emailed. So writing is a good thing I do. It's a good habit to build. I was never a writer, but I know it's a life-saving technique too. When you're stressed out, write about it. When you're happy, write about it. How you feeling? Because then you can see those emotions outside of you, and you really can
Mhm.
feel it, how good or bad they are, and how you can do what you can do to feel better, right? So I spend time in my basement. I have a corner here,
It's just
and
it's the
just
it's the Iron Man cave.
yeah, it's my Iron Man cave. I have my things here. I have a bunch of things here, and I look at and I have foot that I have that I wore for 7 8 years. And I put the names of the places that it took me, and it reminds me of the struggles. And I use so a lot of talks I do. They're animated. I have a lot of props.
Right.
For example, I just showed you my leg, right? And I also have a replica of Terry Fox leg. So I don't know if audience knows Terry Fox, right? He ran across Canada. This is a replica of Terry Fox leg donated by Ottawa Hospital. So I use it to really reflect back on. It's not about the things that we don't have. It's about what we do with what we have. A lot of times that's the fight we're fighting. And once we recognize the importance of that mindset, then nothing can stop us, right? So we
It
can
just
all be
takes.
successful.
There you
Exactly. And
go.
Terry Fox story is a huge, huge lesson for all us Canadians and people across the world. And I use those props as part of my talks.
It's
And whether it's
just
it's
to
a prop,
showcase and to learn.
make it more animated,
It's
make it more interesting. It's just not a talk. It's a talk with a lot of objects I use, right? For example, things like this, right? I plant my talks in my cave, and I have my own time and feed. And at the end of the day, my job is my duty is to inspire masses. And I plan
okay.
here from this. This is my headquarters, Inspire One headquarters, where I plan where I'm going to go for inspiration, or to find inspiration, or to inspire others. So
All
I
right.
attend a lot of events. Yeah.
All right. Let's have some fun before we go.
Now time for victory!
It's now time for pick three. I need three. That's right. I need three numbers between 1 and 10. And those are the questions I'm going to ask you before we let you go today. So give me three numbers between 1 and 10. And those are the three questions I'm going to ask you before we let you go.
So I'll give you the number. Basically, let's do 3,
Three, two more.
3, 9, 7.
3, 9, and 7. All right, here we go. If you could follow somebody for 48 hours, just follow them, past or present, who would it be and why?
Definitely, I'm truly inspired by Terry Fox. I will definitely run behind him and try to see what kind of human being he was and how he developed that wisdom at 20 years age. I would definitely follow him, and the resilience, the level of the type of leadership he had, inspirational leadership he built. He showed us a lot of lessons, right? And also resilience and perseverance, persevering through adversity. And I mean, I would not be able to think about anyone better than him. And I went through personal situations similar to him, but then I always want to learn more from his stories. I have a couple books that was written on Terry Fox. Last year was a book called Terry and Me, and there's a book that came out actually not today, this year, called Hope by Terry Fox. It's amazing books.
Okay.
I would definitely read. Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is a fun one. Who is your celebrity crush?
I watched this movie long time ago when I was a kid. Uh, it was, I think, Sliding Doors by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
She was the one. I was like, man, who is she? And the way she talked in the movie, and it was so innocent, right? And that kind of melted my heart.
All right, and here's another fun one you picked. What is your hidden talent?
Hidden talent. I mean, I people think I'm a very I do stand up comedy too, so people don't know a lot about it. I'm almost a funny guy, my family and stuff. So, but I kind of brought it in about a year ago. I've just walked into this open mic comedy. I thought I'm gonna just try. So I do the open mic on a side, because big part of my inspirational talk is comedy, because there's a lot of humor in my talks, making light of the situation with what happened to me and really allowing others to be at ease. Okay, this is fine. I'm fine. If I fall on stage, that's okay. The point is not the falling; it's the getting back up, right? So I do a lot of leg jokes. That's my comedy. So that's my hidden talent. I do a lot of comedy. Yeah.
Well, if anybody has video of that out there, let us know. We'd love to see it out there. My friend, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with us. And I'm going to throw this up right there. Tell us a little bit real quick. There is the website. You can find him right there. Get inspired, get knowledge. It's all about taking that one step at a time. So we want to thank you so much for joining us here today. And also want to thank IWB for hooking us up together. And it's always inspirational. All right, everybody. Like I always say, you didn't have to watch, you didn't have to listen, but I'm so glad that you did. Like we said, all it takes is one step, and you can do that. See you next time, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.